Hi, my name is Nora Dunn. I'm otherwise known as the Professional Hobo, and I am so named because I've been a digital nomad since 2006, which I like to call the prehistoric times of digital nomadism, as in digital nomadism wasn't a thing. There was no term for that. Location independent, remote work, these were not commonly held or understood concepts. So I was a pioneer in my own mind as I traveled the world for the next 17 years, working remotely along the way. One of the really interesting things that I discovered pretty soon into my digital nomad lifestyle was that I could save a lot of money on accommodation, which is your biggest travel expense, bar none, by getting it for free. And in my first 10 years on the road, I actually saved over $100,000 getting my accommodation for free. I literally wrote the book on it. There's 5 different ways to get your accommodation for free. There's work exchange, there's house sitting, there's hospitality exchanges, there's living on boats, which is a unique way to do it. I did that for about 3 months in the Caribbean. And if you still have a home to exchange, there's home exchanges. Now, I will also say not all of these free accommodation ways are the most conducive or complementary to the digital nomad lifestyle, but certainly from a travel perspective and from a perspective of cultural immersion, having really unique experiences, and of course, saving money, it's an amazing way to go. So the first form of free accommodation that I discovered in my travel lifestyle was volunteering in trade for free accommodation, otherwise known as work exchange. Most people conventionally think of WWOOF, which is worldwide work on organic farms, as the only way to do it. I assure you, my thumbs are not green. I'm not an organic gardening sort of girl, and I never had to do any of that. Instead, some of the things that I ended up doing, I was designing marketing plans, I painted murals, I milked goats, that was interesting. I helped manage retreat and conference centers, I cooked, I chopped firewood. I did all kinds of really interesting things in trade for free accommodation, and also got a chance to live very locally wherever I was. The only problem was when you're spending 25 hours a week or so volunteering, enjoyable as that may be, that cuts into your time available to be able to work remotely, which can pay for the rest of your expenses. So at one stage of the game, I realized I'd almost felt like I'd traded one rat race for another, and that I was spending, 25 hours a week volunteering. I was spending another, 30 plus hours a week working online. And suddenly I felt like what was the point in even traveling? Because I didn't have enough time or energy to discover my destination at hand. So it's a really fabulous way to travel the world and to have unique experiences for short periods of time. But in terms of the lifestyle of digital nomadism, it's a bit of a balancing act. So the next form of free accommodation that I found that was bar none the best way to travel and work remotely while getting free accommodation is house sitting. And house sitting is simply taking care of somebody else's place while they are off traveling or doing whatever they're doing. Usually there are pets to take care of as well. But every gig varies dramatically in terms of the responsibilities that you will have. So as a traveler, as a house sitter, you have the advantage of the comforts of home. It's just somebody else's home and you're staying there for free. They often usually give you use of the car depending on the location and the gig. And the advantage, of course, for the homeowner is that they have somebody staying in the home. There's a security presence there, someone to check the mail, water the plants, and take care of any of the necessary tasks of daily life while they're gone. So it's a very symbiotic relationship. I've house sat for, like a dozen different countries. And probably the best one that I had was a 3-month house sitting gig in Switzerland in summer. I was taking care of a 3-story home in Zurich, as well as a Swiss alpine cottage near Lucerne. I had use of the car. I could be in whatever place I wanted to be, whenever I wanted to be. All I had to do was keep the orchids alive. That was a primo gig. I really liked that one. The third form of free accommodation is living on boats. And I stumbled into this actually when I was house sitting in the Caribbean. I met a bunch of yachties who were boat people, and then I was introduced to this whole new way of life. It's a very small community, the yachting community, and there are websites that you can use that can hook you up with free accommodation on boats. The idea being you are an extra set of hands to help out on deck, below deck, and normally with a sail as well. If you're going from one place to another, to have the extra set of hands is helpful. It's also important to note, though, that it definitely helps to have some sailing experience, and it also helps to understand that the costs of owning and operating a boat are extensive. So expect to perhaps pay a little bit of money in order to cover your expenses like food and water and whatnot. So, but I lived on boats in the Caribbean for 3 months, spanning 5 countries. It was pretty incredible. Hospitality exchanges are also commonly known as couch surfing. So that is when you simply stay with a local and they offer up their proverbial couch or spare room or whatever it is in the name of enjoying a cultural exchange. So it's, again, a beautiful symbiotic relationship where the traveler gets to meet a local and get some insider recommendations and ideas and insights. And the local host gets to interact with the traveler and learn about their culture and whatnot. So amazing cultural exchange. Not great, again, for the digital nomad lifestyle, because I like to say that a good house guest is like fresh produce. They go off after a few days. So with hospitality exchanges, if you're only staying somewhere for a few days at a time, it's very difficult to get into a rhythm that will help you be productive long-term from a remote work perspective. So it's great if you want a short stint of a cultural exchange and get used to a city, but as a lifestyle, it's very work intensive. And the last form of free accommodation that is really complementary to the digital nomad lifestyle is home exchanges. Similar to house sitting, it behooves the homeowner to have someone staying in their home, and they have the benefit of being able to stay in your home or somebody else's home while they travel as well. So again, you get all the comforts of home. You get the money saving experience as well of having a kitchen so you can shop and cook. There's usually an office space or some kind of ergonomically friendly workspace for remote work. That's really good. And you don't have to worry about three-way exchanges. It might sound really complicated to find somebody who's willing to trade their place for yours at the exact same time that you want to be there. So there's a lot of websites that will arrange three-way exchanges or that can do points-based exchanges in order to facilitate a global network of home exchanges that works well for everybody. I am a former certified financial planner, and even when I sold my financial planning practice to travel the world, the financial planner inside of me never went away. So I am chock-a-block with financial travel tips and ways that you can maximize your financial situation while you are traveling the world as a digital nomad. So I'll share a few tips with you right now, one of which is when you use your credit card abroad. If your credit card, most credit card companies, save for this one exception I'll share in a minute, most credit companies, when you charge an expense in a foreign currency to your card, the credit card company will tack on an additional 3% invisibly on top of the base exchange rate. And they just pocket that difference. And they call that a currency conversion fee or a foreign transaction fee. So my first tip is to get a credit card that has no foreign transaction fees, or you also might see this expressed as no FX fees. That means when you charge an expense in a foreign currency with that card, it will happen at the actual bank exchange rate, and the credit card company doesn't take that extra premium, because 3% on everything you charge adds up pretty quickly. Another piece of advice I have regarding credit cards abroad is never, ever, 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 ever use your credit card at an ATM to pull out money. Because when you use your credit card at an ATM to pull out money, that is seen as a cash advance. Now, the problem is not only will you pay a cash advance fee to the credit card company, usually in the neighborhood of $5, but then also your credit card balance on that date will start accruing interest daily until you pay it off. So normally when you use your credit card, you can charge all your expenses, your monthly statement comes in, you can pay it off in full, and you will never pay any interest, because that's a part of a grace period that's built into credit cards. However, if you use that ATM right smack dab of the date of withdrawal, no matter where that falls in your monthly cycle, you're going to get starting charged interest. I made this mistake. I paid a whack of interest when my statement came in, and I will never do that again. If you have to use your credit card at the ATM, go online, pay off the entire balance in advance, and then at least the only thing you'll have to pay is the cash advance fee. What other financial tips do I have? I have so many. What do I do? Oh, okay. Well, let's keep talking about credit cards, shall we? Okay, good. When I fly long haul, it is almost always in business class for less than the price of an economy ticket. And I do this through the strategic use of frequent flyer miles. Now, there are a number of different strategies that you can use to accumulate, manage, and redeem frequent flyer miles. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of work. There's a learning curve to it. Business class on a long haul flight, you're not going to want to go back. It is well worth it. And one of the great ways to accumulate frequent flyer miles, of course, is to apply for credit cards that are associated with frequent flyer mile programs and that have juicy sign up bonuses. And then you can accumulate lots of miles that way. Now and then of course, also charge all of your expenses every single day to that card. And every dollar you spend on that card will continue to accrue miles. I will say that the strategy only works if you pay off your full credit card and balance every single month. The moment you start carrying a balance and paying interest, it negates all the value of this program, or this idea. And also, this is an opportunity that really only exists for North Americans. US citizens have the most opportunities. Canadians probably have the second greatest number of frequent flyer mile programs and opportunities available. And then there's a declining scale of opportunities from there. Maybe UK citizens and Australians have some more opportunities. So it is something that is a little geographically restricted, but if you're in North America, have at it, baby. Another tip that I have may not seem like a financial tip, but when you understand how it works, it's extremely important when it comes to the digital nomad lifestyle. And it is simply this: travel slowly. Let me think about it. The slower you go, the less money you will spend inherently. For example, the fewer planes, trains, buses, taxis, tuk-tuks, scooters, whatever that you're getting on, the less money you will inherently spend. And the longer you stay in a location, the more likely you are to be getting special accommodation deals that will, if you're not getting it for free with something like house sitting, usually if you stay somewhere for a few months, you will pay significantly less than if you were simply staying there for a few weeks or even a few days. That also means you'll likely have kind of accommodation that has a kitchen so you can shop locally and you don't have to eat all of your meals out. That will save you some money as well. And really and truly, if you are a digital nomad and you are working remotely, let's remember that there is a difference between a vacation and a travel lifestyle. When you are working full time, it inherently will take you a lot longer to get a feel for your destination because you're not on vacation. You're not going out every single day and doing touristy activities and filling your time with various things that involve being at that destination. You're working. When you're at home, consider how much time you spend in your home destination doing not maybe touristy activities, but the equivalent thereof. Probably not that much. You might do it a couple of times a week. The rest of the time, when your work is done for the day, you're probably tending to the tasks of daily life. Shopping, laundry, cooking, Netflix and chill. We all need some Netflix and chill no matter where we are in the world. So then it's important to understand that when travel is your lifestyle, your pace of travel will need to change inherently with that. And the beauty of this as well is the slower you go, the more money you generally save as well. Because we all tend to think of travel as we've got that vacation mindset. What I'm about to say is probably going to blow your mind, but I'm going to say it. In my first couple of years of full-time travel, I discovered, much to my surprise and delight, that the cost of full-time travel was significantly less than I ever paid to live in one place. And there's a few different reasons for this, not the least of which is we have a lot of expenses when we live in one place. First of all, if you're living in a big city, you're probably paying a pretty exorbitant rent, but then also you have a place that there is some inherent consumerism involved. Right? When everything you own fits into a bag, you can't buy stuff. And you would be amazed at how much money this will save you overall. I tracked my expenses and my income for my first 10 years of full-time travel. And I published it on my website, theprofessionalhobo.com, to prove that full-time travel can be financially sustainable. This doesn't mean necessarily it's budget travel. It doesn't mean that it's environmentally sustainable. A lot of people think financially sustainable travel has to do with being eco-friendly or budget-minded. Both of those are great, but that's not what financially sustainable travel is. Financially sustainable travel is based on 3 pillars. Earning money remotely, making creative and conscious choices for how you choose to spend your money, and balancing the money in with the money out so you can maintain this lifestyle as long as you want. Consistently, people that I speak to, my colleagues, my clients, and my compatriots all say that the cost to travel full-time is surprisingly lower than we ever might imagine. So if you're worried about the cost of full-time travel and that's preventing you from getting on the road, I assure you There are plenty of ways to do it in a really rewarding, cost-conscious way. Listen, just in case you think I'm the sort of girl that likes to live in a cardboard shack on the side of the road, I have stayed in some of the most glorious accommodation you can imagine. Again, a lot of it for free, but there's a lot of other ways that you can continue to save money and travel full-time as a digital nomad. It's an amazing lifestyle. I'm not here to sell snake oil. It's not for everybody, but I'll tell you what, if you crave a different kind of lifestyle and you work remotely and you want to see what long-term travel is like, I always say, give it a shot and see how it feels.